Hi all, thanks for joining me. I know, it's been a really long time, like a month and a half or something or more. So, lots been going on here. I will hope to get back to you, but what we're doing today is, now I don't know whether many of you know or not, some of you will, I'm a moderator on a Facebook group called Playing with Paper and Glue. Now, every month we do some freebies. Now, they come out on the first day of each month, and we'll either have digital creators doing them, we'll have, guest creators doing them, and every now and again, one of the moderators do the freebies. So this month is my turn. Now, you will find all these freebies on the group, so Playing with Paper and Glue Facebook group. I don't create digitals. I'm not a digital creator at all. But what I do is I collect vintage ephemera. Those of you that have been in my Ko-fi store before will see some that I have up there where that you can either purchase or get them free. So what I've done for my freebie for this month is I've shared 7 sheets of my vintage ephemeras. So we have letters from 1954. We have vintage books or booklets that's from. We have cards. Lots of different cards that work really well in all sorts of things. Again, lots more. I love these little ones. She could, would, or should have loved. I could, would, or should have loved. We've got some very old train tickets, railway branch. I'm not quite certain of the date with those. I've got Flinders Island Medical Union from 1932. I've got a CWA, the Country Women's Association card for first prize. That one is actually for my grandmother. Not certain of the date, but it would be from, 1948. Recommendation for workers. These, you'll see the slight yellow tinge around these. These are vintage transfers. I came across these in a thrifting haul that I did, and I just love them. I won't use them as the transfers. I've just scanned them, and that's what I use. And I'll either use them around or I will cut around them and fussy cut them out. But they're just beautiful. I have a dance card from 1913. So I've just scanned the front cover of that one for you. We've got a couple of little like business card type things from donkey jonks ago. I've got another letter from the 50s. I've got this beautiful little booklet that I just had to add in, which is radioactive biochemic tissue remedies. So from the Biochemic Institute. Why not? We've got an education department certificate from 1912, and we've got this. I love this. This is a blotter, chemically different. Note the contrast, fermentation products. Now this is from the Women's Christian Temperance Union of South Australia. We have the difference in grape juice to wine. So they're trying to get you into the normal grape juice, not the wine. So I've done up sheets of those. Lynn, who is the owner of the Playing with Paper and Glue Facebook group, will be loading these up for me because I can email them to her. I don't know how to upload them. I'm useless. But let's make something with just these. You can use them in all sorts of things, but let's just make something with just these. So what we've got is a little flip out booklet to go in your journal. I had to use my dance card on the front. You can see one of my transfers. This opens out. Oh, I have popped in. I've got some vintage. Here we go. Some vintage shrink-proofed plait. And I've just undone some of that and used as my tie. We're inside. We've got an extra flip and all the rest. So let's quickly go through this for you. It's nice and easy to make. Now, some of these, what I've also done is when I print them out, Oh, let's find my pile of stuff. When I print them out in different sizes. So they're the standard size, just printed one to a sheet, one to a page. When I go into my printer, I will right click on the image. I will then go down to show more options and I go into print, which gives me up the screen, which means that I can then do 2 to a page, 4 to a page, etc, etc, which is the easiest way to resize these. So here you'll see the same letter and I've done it 2 to a page, which just gives me a slightly smaller version. This one's been done 4 to a page, so that was our last one, which is that one. Again, same thing depending on what we're doing, but it gives me smaller versions. That one's done 2 to a page. There are my little transfers and that, again 2 to a page. Some of these I've tea-dyed on the back just to give them more of a vintage look, so that if I decided to pop them in as a journal card, I already had that nice backing to them, and it makes it, you'll see then the tea, and I've only gone over the back, I haven't gone over the front, I've just gone over the back, but some of it seeps through, which gives me even more watermarks going through them. And you'll see that's what I've done with a lot of these ones. Some I then used the tea-dyed versions, some I haven't, but it just then gave me the options for when I was playing with them. Right, so let's just pop some of that away. And the only other thing you're going to need is a piece of manila folder. I love using manila folder. They're as cheap as chips to get hold of, especially in op shops, thrift shops, and they just give it a little bit more weight when we're doing something. So what I want is my little booklet, which was my wool booklet. Now this was falling apart, so it was nice and easy to scan a page or two, and it has where the staples were in. We're going to keep those because we're going to cut those little holes out, and that's what gives us our little section to tie our thread round. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to trim it at the moment. Now whether that's been me when I've put it on the sheet to try and get the most out of it, it's just taken it to the tip here and it's given me a little bit of extra edge there, but we're going to use that. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my knife and we're just going to trim this guy off so that he's separate. I've put a new blade in my knife, which is just amazing for me, probably because I couldn't do anything with the other one. Right, this one I'm going to trim right down where it finishes here, just on that black edge. That's that one. And this one I'm taking over to where the page actually finishes. Okay, like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it along that line, so where the page line goes, because I want this as my flip. So I'm just going to run it down there so I can see exactly where it is. I'm going to lift that up so that I've got that crease there so I know where I'm going onto my other side. I'm going to fold that over on that crease. Now because it's vintage, quite often they're not straight, but that will give that a nice little crease down. I know my bone score is there. And then we're going to open it back out again. So I've got that creased down on that edge. This side I'm going to adhere onto my manila folder, okay? But I don't want this crease on the manila folder. I want that loose as just this. I don't want to make that bit too thick. So hopefully, as I said before, they're not straight, so you're probably better off to go above this edge, but run your manila folder down where that folds over. Make sure you can fold that over. That's what's going to be glued. So all of that, we're going to pop our glue on. So I want to go up to that crease line, but I want to go over the top of here a little bit, just in case it's not straight. It's done with a glue stick, so I've got time to manoeuvre it. Right, grab that. Make sure it's completely on there. No air bubbles. Right, that can be trimmed around now. Look at that. See what happens when you get a fresh blade? That's going to allow that to fold beautifully. And that's the front of our little booklet. What we're going to need to do is do our crease line in here, so I can see where that is, because I want to run down the side of these. Whether it's going to be straight or not is another thing, because it is vintage and none of these were ever really straight. Yeah, see, that's not going to be straight, but I want to go make it as straight as I can. I'm taking it over just a little bit further so that I can run, and I'm actually going to run one of these down instead of using my scoreboard. Just gives me enough so that I can fold it and then manipulate it, because that's going to come over there. It needs to come to the edge of that. Okay, now I can give that a good crease. Give that a crease with that. So what I've got is that. I'm going to fold this back the other way now, and I'm going to just ink in here. Okay, I'm going to cover the rest of these, but I just want that. What I do need at the moment is to stop all that going on my mat, don't I? So it's just going to give it a darker edge on that inside piece, like so. Okay, got it? I'm going to go down the side of here because I want this whole thing to look as though it's been loved, vintaged, etc. Now what I'm going to do is cut out those holes. So this is where you'll need your blade to be sharp if you want to do that. So we're just going to follow. Works better if this is completely dry to start with. The blades don't like wet glue, it's just what they are. So just take your time, otherwise you will rip the wet paper. There's one, there's another little one down here. Just a little one, just which would have been the other side of the staple. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's meant to look as though it's been rusted out and it's caused that bit in the paper where a staple has been. Okay. Don't tear, Kylie. Don't tear it. Cut it. Right, one more to go. There. Now, because we've cut this out, it's very stark white inside. We want to get rid of that. So what I tend to use is a little bit of acetate. So you can see where it's now looking like it's been cut. So I have a little piece of acetate that sits on my desk beside me. And I've just got a couple of distress inks. So I've got frayed burlap, and I've got, in my little ones, I've got a ground espresso. Just pop a little bit on there, okay? Give yourself a mix and get a water brush, which should be still here. Here it is. All right, just a normal water brush. Put a little bit of water on that because your distress ink will turn into a paint. And then just go in here and fill that out. So see how we're just getting rid of that colour now? Pick up some more. Right, back down to these ones, and we're just colouring in or soaking in with the ink the little bit of white that's on the inside. You don't want too much water on it, because too much water will lighten down your colour. Right, so let's have a look. Let's pick up a lot of that paint now. And what I'm going to do is just take those down just a little bit further. So I'm going to create this as a further rusted area. Take you up a little bit further. And I want some of that rust going from the corners where they've been sitting in. For me, let's say they've been sitting in boxes, not used. And I just want that weather-stained look where they've just been chucked into boxes with a whole heap of other ephemera, and then they've been found. You know, you've come across a wonderful pile of ephemera from your grandparents' days or whatever else. They don't look pristine. We don't want this to look pristine. So all we're doing is giving it some edges. I'm just going straight across the top. Right. So that's our outside at this stage. We can go back and add more colour as we're going. Put you there. Move you over to there. Still sit it where you can see it so that you don't put your arm on it. Speaking from experience. Right, so my inside piece, what I want to do with that is I want one of my little Ellison higher ones, which is why I printed them out smaller. So I've printed that out smaller. Now this is just on standard copy paper, but it fits this beautifully. And it's up to you whether you want it that way, because it's going to finish there. I wanted it with the date. So what I did was I trimmed it down here. So I just trimmed off the top up here. With that one. Depends on what you want to see on it. I'm going to take that over just a little bit, like so, because I really like the date in there. So what I've got is that, and this is going to adhere all the way up there and just in a little bit. We don't want to cover those rust holes. Okay, turning that over before I get too much glue on my mat. And now pushing it all down again. Like so. Now the rest of that can be trimmed off. So you can see how it's starting to want to curl. Don't freak with that. I'm going to use big scissors with that because it's so wet. If I use my knife, it may want to tear the paper on the inside. So this is where scissors work a treat when you have no patience or you're filming and you need to trim up something that's really, really wet still. My corner's not done there. And I think I had a little bit down this end. Right. Yeah. Gluey, 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 gluey. Put that down there. Look at that. Missed that completely. Missed that completely. Right. Not even ink's going to fix that one up. Didn't ink there. Should have inked. So jumping back a step, should have inked that edge piece first. But that's alright. We'll get that done now. But it would have been easier to ink that when we first cut it. Now all I'm doing at the moment is just a rough ink, and then I will go back, and I just want that edge piece. And I'll go back with a darker ink to highlight areas later on. Right. Okay, so we'll go with our darker areas now. Water brush later on, once we've got our base done. So on this side, what I want is a pocket, side pocket. We might straighten that. That may work. All right, so what I want on the inside of that is my Victorian Education Union one. So what I'm going to need to do is trim off the edges of that. So at this stage, I'm just going to take it across the top just to start working out my sections. I'm going to take it right across there. And I'm going to take the bottom section off so that I just have that with me. Okay. I don't have to worry about having that other piece sitting there. And we'll add that to the pile of over there. So up here, you can see that it's slightly larger, but it actually will fit that one and that one. So we're going to go in there and we can trim that little bit off once we've stuck it down. To start with, I'm just going to trim down here, just to give me a fighting chance of where I'm going. Right, what I want to see is definitely this bit and this bit. I don't necessarily need the name, so what I'm going to do is trim off at that name, because I will then use this up onto my pocket so that I've got a bit going down. All will become clear. So I'm just going to go straight across there where that line is for the name. This one's going to go in here. I'm going to ink along that bit first, just makes it a little bit easier. All right. So when I stick this down, I can see, you can see these little bits. I can use those ones as reference, and I can have them evenly at the top there. I'm going to go too far. I need to make sure that this flap will still flap. How's that? Okay, so I'm going to glue that one. Right, so what I want to do with the rest of my piece is work this out, because this is going to be my pocket. Okay, I'm going to utilize this as my pocket. Okay, which is going to sit in here like that. Look, if you had a larger piece than that, I'm just going to use my scrap, but if you had a larger piece, I would probably take it up to about that line, but for the sake of this one, we're just going to take it to wherever this one fits. Okay, and what I want to do is I need to trim the bottom of that where I've just cut it with my scissors. So I'm just going to cut this one down to size. And then I'll straighten that bottom piece, because it is the bottom edge of the manila folder. Like so. Now that little piece just needs a slight trim just to even it up a little bit and get rid of some of that fold, just so it doesn't foul it. Right, that's this piece. This one I'm going to stick on there. Again, I need to make sure I'm between those two lines, because that's what I've got with my other one. So I haven't got glue on this piece, it's on the manila folder, remember, so I can keep going this way. Now I'm going to crease down there. Yep, look at that. Happy with that. Beautiful. still got a little bit of glue coming out, so I'm going to use my scissors on it. Something's not straight there. And that one. Something is definitely not straight. Ah, but it's probably the book. So we'll blame the booklet. Okay. All right. There you go. Yeah. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Let's go up there. There we go. Now it's straight. It wasn't the booklet. It wasn't the paper. It was Kylie. Okay. Now, I want to pop a thumb hole in there. So we want to find round about the centre. It's about 16. So if we go that and that, I'll make a mark at the 8. I'm working in centimetres just because that's what the ruler was on. I'll grab that one, which is my big 2-inch one. Pop that in. I don't want a very big one. My pencil marks round about the centre. That was loud. All right, pull my jumper back up again. I want that one. Okay. I need to make sure I do those bits before I start to cover that up, because otherwise I'll end up with a line, an edge. Make sure you do your bottom section, which is what we should have done with that one first, because it's so much easier to ink before it's actually on. Oh, this one goes this way. Now remember again, don't go over your cutout staple holes. That one can be glued on. Now I need that one for that. Let's see if this is working. Yes, kinda. There it is. So it's Sunday here. Hope everybody's Sunday's going well. I think this will come out on the Monday, which will be the 2nd of June for Australia, 1st of June for America, because Lynn's over there, so she'll be doing it that day. What areas have I missed? Okay, so I'm going to line that bit up, but I'm going to go from here so I can make sure I'm not on my little staple holes. Give that a good push. Alright, so there's our book. It's starting to look quite good. I'm going to ink around to that one while I'm there. Give it some grunge. So you can see how when that started to seep in that corner. Now if you can, let's go that way. It started to seep out because we've got the water with it, which is just giving it a little bit more age and not an ink mark as such. I will also quite often use, here we go, my re-inkers, my brushed corduroy re-inker, or I've got a walnut stain re-inker. I don't tend to use them that much for re-inking. I do with the brushed corduroy because I use that so much, but I do like it as for doing this sort of stuff. Now, I'm just going to ink in there before I go anywhere. That one is already done, so that's fine. That's all inked. Put that one away. Now, what I want is our little cards. So let's pull these guys over again. I love these. I've had these. Oh, I can't find them at all now. Hang on. Hang on. go this pile. So much pile there. I'd love to be able to move the camera and show you, but I'm really probably glad that I can't. Right, these, I've had these for years. Found them in an antique store somewhere, and I just love them. Right, so, my little ruler. We're going to trim these ones out. Now, they are not quite the same size. You will need to trim them up a little bit. From memory, she is a little bit larger than him. Right, that one. Take that bit off. And that one. Got the hiccups, excuse me. I'll take her out. And up here for her. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, see how she's just a tad bit taller? So, I want to make these ones exactly the same size because they're going to be a pocket over that flap. You've really not got any room across the top before you start losing that writing, but you can take her up a little bit there. So you'll need to make her the same size as him. Like so. Now I'm just sitting them together to get a rough idea. And you can see that they're also, again, not the same square area. So I'm just going to trim her to there. There we go. Now, so now they're the same size. They're going to become a pocket. I want some colour in there. Yes, if I'd tea-dyed these ones as well, it would have already been done. But no, I haven't tea-dyed these ones. Let's grab that bit. I've already got one here. So I need the top of them just a little bit brown. That's just a me thing. You don't feel you need to do that, but I just want some brown in there, so it's again not quite the stark white at the top when you open it up for the pocket. So all I'm doing is putting my ink on my blending tool and I'm just doing my circles. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's the inside of there, but it's just given it so that when you see in your pocket, it's given it a little bit of brown in there and not the stark white that it would have been up the other end. Okay. I'm also going to then get rid of my white edges. Oh, I think my heater's just turned off. My legs got cold all of a sudden. I have closeted myself in here and shut the door and managed to drag out the heater this morning because it was quite chilly, very foggy. You couldn't see 5 foot in front of you, but it was quite chilly, so I managed to actually clear a space on the floor because I've got books everywhere to put the little convention heater there. Right, so that's these ones. I want her on the outside, it's up to you, so that she sits in there. So what I'm actually going to do is pop him in first. Okay, now I'm going to use double-sided tape on my flat bit. And I just want a narrow one. Oh, that one might fit. Let's have a look. But I need to make sure he's even in there. Oh, by all means, you could have him at the top, you could have him at the bottom. For me, I like even. So what I'm going to do is make sure that that's folded there, that he's sitting in where he needs to be. And I'm just going to have a look and see where that is. Yeah, right. So from memory, it was round about 2 centimetres, I think. Bit more. Drop him down. And I'm going to pop a pencil mark there so that I can see. That's on 2. That's on 2, just a little bit further down. And I'm just going to pop a pencil mark there and a pencil mark there so I know where I need to take my tape to. Okay. Want that right at the top. Lost my other mark already. All right. Taking my thing off, and he is on the inside. I'm just going to line that up so it's nice and straight. Kind of. And I want him on that mark. Down to that mark, and he's up a little bit. I haven't got him so that he's right in here because I need to give room for that to fold over, okay? And again, yes, I probably should have done that. Just in there. That's a bit better, isn't it? So you can always go back. But that's just a me and a stark white thing. That's a bit better. A bit better. Right. Now she's going to go on this side. Up the right way. And I'm going to match her there. And there. Like so. Just glue. Okay. So I'm going to glue her. There. There. And if my stomach rumbles, I'm sorry. I can feel it working its way up to a rumble. Must be breakfast time, lunch time, something. Yes. No, I don't know what time is. Alright. So to do, I'm just turning her round, and I know I've got glue on that side, but my main focal bit is I need to match the top of her. I go to my corner, over to that corner, and then I can drop her down. Okay, squeeze my glue in. All right, so now I've got my pocket up here once the glue has dried. What I'm going to do is trim this off. I'm just going to slice down there, slice down that one, like so. Cack-handedly, I'm going to slice this bit. Like that. I'm going to pop a little bit of ink onto that bit again because I've now got 3 layers of just plain white edges. In there. Look at that. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. So I've got that one. I want a little pocket in there, and I want a little pocket, of course, in the top piece. So again, this is where I tend to go to my smaller pieces, where I've printed them out. Oh, mate, I tell you, look. Wow, Carls, just get it in order. You know what I mean? They're big ones. Let's just move them up. Oh, look, I've got more sitting over here and more sitting over here. Let's have a look. I might have one of these in here. For one of these, I got that now. Listen, I've got, oh, here we go. One of those would be nice as a pocket. There's that one. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Apart from a really big mess. That one will work as a pocket, won't it? Let's go that one. Wow, Carls. Just, wow. Oh, I'm so unorganised this year. You've no idea. You've no idea. Oh, the mess this room is. So I'll give you a little little tip. I don't know whether I told you last time or not. No, I don't think I did, because I've done nothing since then. So, start of this year, I decided on another little side hustle to go with this one as well. And I have an eBay store selling books. You know, I love my vintage books. I have a lot of vintage books on my eBay store. And all sorts of other books and all the rest. So, all right, I'll step back a little bit. In August last year, it's now what? Start of June. August last year, our daughter moved out of home. Moved in with friends, blah, blah, blah. So at the start of this year, I decided that I was going to have a little eBay store, and I was using her bedroom. I know, you all know exactly where I'm going. My word, I'm going to go to that 19th. And so I had shelves all through her room. I had books where I was listing. And I wanted this as a separate side hustle as well, because we've sold our business and we get out in August, and I wanted hopefully that because I want to go into semi-retirement between that and this, and then I could stay working from home. And she's moved back. I love our daughter, I love her dearly, and I love her baby, her little dashhound Bean. You've all heard me mention him. It's my little grandson. So they're back, and I love having them back, but we got 2 days' notice. And I had her bedroom. So I had to hire a storage unit really quickly. We put her furniture in there because she had a house full of furniture. We've put the furniture in there, and I've got the front half with all my books. But all my unlisted books that I had on tables down there are in this room with me. So, and because I'm still buying books and picking books up left, right and centre, and at this stage I'm still working full time and running the house and trying to get everything organised for the sale of the business, which goes through in 2 months' time, and all the rest. You can't move in this room. You literally cannot move in this room. So, hence why you haven't seen me. I come home from work, I take photographs for the eBay store, I then list like mental and then do more listing, because in winter this room's not great for sunlight and all the rest, and I need natural sunlight with the ring light to take photos of the books so that the book photos are good. So I've usually got about an hour to take photos and whatever else. Just, oh mate, I tell you, I like that one in there. Let's have a look. What could I put on the front? Proof of age. I really like that. Special offer. Well, just to let you know. No, let's go special offer. I don't know what I even put on the other one. Let's find the other one, because I want to go slightly different. No, I put just to let you know on the inside of that one. Recommendation for workers. So let's go special offer for this one, just so that they're slightly different. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell at the moment. Hence why you haven't seen me. There's just not enough hours in the day. There's not enough hours in the week or anything else. I missed you guys. I missed you all terribly. Just haven't had a chance. So luckily, because this was my turn for the freebies, it's made me stop and sit down here. I'm just going to round that slightly so that they look a little bit older. Yes, otherwise I don't know when I would have actually got up here. I truly don't. Well, got up here. I'm always up here. I live in this room just about. Hence why it was such a hard thing to get the heater out and to find room to put the heater. So early this morning you should have seen me hands and knees trying to go under things, trying to go around things, trying to get the heater out, trying to actually find somewhere to put the heater. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, like you, but I'm going to sit you up a little bit, I think. Right. I haven't looked at the time. I didn't look at the time I started. on the... I have no idea. I have no idea. So we're going to put this on and we're going to call it a day, I think, because I don't know how long I've been on here for. And I don't know whether I'll have time to edit or not. I want the 11 down there. Let's go over a bit. There we go. How's that? So we'll go back to the other one. There we go. Same sort of thing. You've seen just how easy it is to do. Decorate it as you wish. Use your little ones. I've used more of that ink and water sections in there just to really vintage them up. You can see I've put them in along this one as well, and on the edges. I've done it on my little train tickets as well. It's such an easy thing to do. And I've used these ones in here. Lots of little bits and pieces in this one. I hope you like these freebies. I really hope you like these freebies. I know they're very vintage, but that's what I do. For those of you that are not into vintage, next month, have a look at what the freebies are next month. Or if you're not a member, go over to the Facebook group, answer a few questions, come and join us. We'd love to have you. Playing with Paper and Glue Facebook group, and yeah, come and join us. Okay, thanks for that, guys. Until next time, whenever that'll be. See you later. Bye.